What if I told you that the anxiety you feel in your chest, the heaviness in your shoulders, and that knot in your stomach aren't just random sensations? They're your body literally storing emotions you never fully processed. And what if I told you there are 3 simple techniques you can learn right now to release them? By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to unlock your emotional freedom and start healing your life from the inside out. And I'm going to show you how. So stick with me. Hey there, and welcome back to Hope Regained. I'm your host, Christiane Boudreau, and this is the podcast where we explore practical tools and real talk for healing, growth, and rediscovering the joy that's been waiting for you all along. I'm so grateful you're here today. If you're new to the show, welcome to our community. And if you're returning, thank you for being part of the journey with me. Don't forget to hit subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me where you're listening from. I love hearing from you. So let's dive into something I wish someone had taught me years ago. Have you ever noticed how certain places, songs, or even smells can instantly transport you back to a moment in time? And suddenly you feel everything you felt back then. Maybe your heart starts to race, or your chest tightens up, or you feel that familiar wave of sadness wash over you. That's not just your imagination. That's stored emotional energy living inside your body. And today, we're going to talk about how to release it, heal it, and finally experience the emotional freedom you deserve. Now, before we wrap up today, I'm going to share a powerful personal story about how one of these techniques helped pull me out of some of my darkest moments. So make sure you stay with me until the end. It's quite a revelation, and it was quite a revelation for me, and started a large journey of healing. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with the foundation. What exactly is stored emotional energy, and why should we care about it? Think of your body as this incredibly intelligent system, because it is. And when something happens to you, a breakup, a loss, or a traumatic event, even chronic stress, your body responds. Your nervous system kicks into gear and hormones start to flood your system. And you feel everything in that moment. But here's the thing. If you don't fully process and release those emotions, your body holds on to them. It's like your nervous system hits the pause button on that experience. And that emotional energy gets stored in your tissues, your muscles, and even your organs. I like to think of it as emotional leftovers in your body's refrigerator. You know, if you leave food in there too long, it starts to stink, and it affects everything else around it. Same deal with emotions. Scientific research, especially in the field of, and this is a struggle for me to say, no matter how many times I practice to say it, the field of psychoneuroimmunology. Got it this time. It's a fancy word for how your mind and body are connected. Anyway, it shows us that unprocessed emotions can lead to chronic pain, anxiety, depression, digestive issues, and even autoimmune conditions. And I literally just listened to a podcast episode on this a week ago, and it was so interesting about new research that's gone into dealing with chronic pain and how past traumatic events and depression can have a huge impact in it. So I believe exactly how much impact this has. And in fact, Dr. Candace Pert, a neuroscientist, discovered that emotions are literally molecules of energy that attach to receptors throughout your entire body. She called them molecules of emotion. So when people say, I feel it in my gut, or I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, they're not speaking metaphorically. They're describing real physical stored emotional energy. And listen, this isn't about blame or shame. Your body was doing its job, trying to protect you. But now we get help to release what has been holding on to for so long. So, are you ready to learn? Let's jump into our first technique. Technique number 1 is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And I was actually just talking to my son about this just last week before even putting this whole episode together. It's what made me think of it. But most people call EFT tapping. It's easier to relate to. And yes, it involves literally tapping on specific parts of your body. I know it might sound a little woo-woo at first, but stay with me because the science behind it is actually quite incredible. I tend to think of it a bit as desensitization. It's easier for me to process that way. But EFT combines ancient Chinese acupuncture with modern psychology. So you tap on the meridian points, and these are the energy pathways in your body that have been used in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years. So while verbally acknowledging what you're feeling, you're doing the tapping. A study published in the Journal of Evidence-Based Integrative Medicine found that EFT significantly reduced cortisol levels. And we all know that cortisol is a big stress hormone. And it can reduce it by an average of 43%. 43%. That's huge. So here's how it works. There are 9 main tapping points in your body. The side of your hand, known as the karate chop point, top of your head, beginning of your eyebrow, just above the bridge of the nose, side of your eye, under your nose, just think of it where your snot goes, your chin, just below your lip in the middle, your collarbone, 1 inch away out from your throat, and under your arm, about 4 inches down from your armpit. And this chart you can print off, and I will also add it in with our worksheet at the end on our website, so you can print it off to have that main focus or a reminder where those points are. You tap on each point about 5 to 7 times while speaking your truth about what you're feeling. So let me walk you through a quick example. Let's say you're dealing with anxiety. You'd start by tapping on the side of your hand and saying something like, even though I feel this anxiety in my chest, I deeply and completely accept myself. You repeat that 3 times, and then you move through the other points, saying things like, this anxiety is so overwhelming. I feel it right here, this tightness, and so on. You're acknowledging the feeling, not pushing it away. Then on your second or third round, as you're processing it, you're starting to introduce positive reframe of it. So in other words, you could say, I'm safe right now. I choose to release this. My body knows how to relax, and so on. So you're acknowledging the feeling, and then you're switching it on your second or third round to that positive reframe. EFT is really, really powerful. I know it sounds strange, but again, think of it as a desensitization mechanism. It works by calming your amygdala. That's the fear center of your brain. And while you're thinking about the stressful experience, it essentially starts to rewire your brain response to that memory or emotion to a positive sense or positive state. I have a full EFT tapping guide in the worksheet that you can download. And it's completely free, so it's free to you. It includes all the points and scripts just to get you started. Here's something for you to remember. Your body has been listening to your story. Now give it permission to write a new chapter. We're going to go on to our second technique, and this is something that's really important. It's about breath and breathing. And I know I've mentioned it in meditation, in different aspects when we need to pause. It helps. It helps take that stop that we all need sometimes. And you're doing it right now, hopefully. But most of us are doing it on autopilot, and we're not using it to its full potential. Breath is literally the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind. It's the only function in your body that's both automatic and in your control. You breathe without thinking, but you can also control how you breathe. That makes it this incredible tool for accessing and releasing stored emotions. When you experience trauma or chronic stress, your breathing pattern changes. If you could notice it at that moment, you would be able to tell. It becomes shallow, rapid, and chest breathing rather than deep and controlled. This keeps your nervous system in that fight or flight mode. But when you consciously change your breath, you send a direct signal to your brain that says, hey, we're safe now. You can relax. There are tons of breathwork techniques out there, but I'm going to share 3 of my favorites. They're specifically designed to move energy and release emotions. So the first one I'm going to teach you is box breathing or square breathing. And there's a reason why we say square breathing. This is really good for anxiety or if you're feeling overwhelmed. You breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, and hold again for a count of 4. You're literally breathing in the shape of a box. 4, 4, 4, and 4. That will help you remember it. And this activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest mode. It's what Navy SEALs use before missions to calm their nerves. So if it works for them, it should work for us, right? I mean, just imagine the situations they're in. So that one is really simple. It's easy to remember, and it's very effective. The second technique I'm going to show you is the 4-7-8 breath. This one was developed by Dr. Andrew Weil, and it's like a natural tranquilizer for your nervous system. You breathe in through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 7, then exhale through your mouth for 8. That long exhale is key because it activates your vagus nerve, which is like the master reset button for your nervous system. And even if you have to do it 2 or 3 times, it can make a world of difference. And the last one that I have for my favorite is conscious connected breathing or circular breathing. This is a little bit more of an intense technique, and it's what I personally use when I need to release deep stored emotions. So if you've been holding stuff in, pain or grief, anything that's been really, really held in, not something that's in the spur of the moment. And this is something to use when you have your own personal space. You're in a bath or you're in your room by yourself where it's a safe space. What you do is you breathe continuously without pausing between the inhale and exhale. Sort of like if you're panting in birthing or something like that. So it's like a circle of breath. And you do this anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. And it can bring up emotions, memories, and even physical sensations. And you'll find that the first time you do it, it's intense. And it's a way that if I know I've been holding back grief, I can let out the tears. The emotions hit like a freight train. And I cried like full body, soul shaking tears. But afterwards, I felt so much lighter than I had in a long time. It was like I've been carrying this heavy backpack full of rocks, and I finally got to put them down. And I know I talk about my backpack all the time, but it's the best way I can explain that heavy feeling. If you try this one again, I highly, highly recommend you do it in a safe space. Make sure you have a box of Kleenex really close because you're likely going to need them. And give yourself permission to feel, really feel what comes up, because it means that your body's probably been waiting for a long time for this release. Every breath is a second chance. Breathe in healing and breathe out everything that no longer serves you. All of these techniques are broken down step by step in that free worksheet. All right. So now we're getting down into the beautiful world of energy work. Let's talk about Reiki and energy visualization. So Reiki is a Japanese healing technique that means universal life energy. A Reiki practitioner channels healing energy through their hands to help balance your body's energy system. Now you can receive Reiki from a trained practitioner, which is amazing, but you can also learn to do simple energy work on yourself. Everything around us is energy. And science tells us that through quantum physics, every cell in your body and every thought you have, everything around you is vibrating at different frequencies. When you have stored emotional energy, you essentially have blockages or disruptions in your energy field. Reiki and energy visualization help to clear those blockages and restore flow. Here's a simple self-Reiki practice you can do right now. Well, maybe after the episode, and especially if you're driving. Find a comfortable seated or lying position. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to center yourself. And here's the trick. You're going to rub your palms together vigorously for about 30 seconds until you feel warmth building. Now hold your hands a few inches apart, and you should feel a subtle energy or tingling between them. Just focus, and you'll start to feel it. And that's your energy field. Now place your hands over your own heart and visualize warm, golden light flowing from the universe through the crown of your head, down through your body, and out through your hands into your heart. See this light dissolving any dark, heavy energy. Imagine it turning into light and dissolving like ice melting in the sun. You can do this for any area of your body where you feel tension or emotion. It could be your stomach. You could place your hands there too, or your lower back. Just set your hands there. And then with intention, feel the channeling of the healing energy to releasing what is stored. I know, sounds woo-woo, right? But with an open mind, sometimes some of these woo-woo techniques can really help. And if you're really struggling, what's the harm in trying? Now, we're going to step it up a notch and pair this with visualization. Visualization can be really powerful, especially over time and with practice. So as you place your hands on your body, visualize the specific emotion. Give it a color, a shape, a texture. Bring it to life a bit. So maybe your anger looks red or like jagged stones, or your sadness could be heavy, like gray, murky water. Then visualize that energy transforming. See those red stones softening and dissolving. Watch that heavy water, that gray, murky water, start to evaporate and turn into light mist that drifts away. Your subconscious mind speaks in symbols and images. So when you use visualization, you're literally giving your subconscious the blueprint for healing. I know that's a lot to take in, but think of it this way. You are not broken. You are not damaged. You are energy in the process of transformation. We've covered a lot today, so let's try to bring it all together. You now have 3 powerful techniques in your toolkit. EFT tapping to rewire your emotional response, breathwork to move energy and calm your nervous system, and calming is big, Reiki and visualization to clear energetic blockages. But here's what I really want you to understand. Healing isn't a destination. It's not something you arrive at when you're done. It's actually a journey, a practice, and a daily choice to honor yourself and release everything that you've been carrying. I promised you a story. So here it is. About 11 years ago, and those of you who know me know where I'm going with this, I was in one of the darkest places in my life. I won't go into the specific details, but I was dealing with grief, anxiety, and this feeling of being completely disconnected from myself. I felt numb and broken all at the same time, which I didn't even know was possible. One night I couldn't sleep. I was laying in bed and I had to decide to try to consciously connect. One night I couldn't sleep. I was lying in bed and I decided to try conscious connected breathing. That's the circular breathing that I was talking about earlier as one of the breath techniques. I didn't have high expectations. I was just desperate for something to change. Within 10 minutes, my whole body started shaking. Not in a scary way, but it was in one of those major releasing ways. And the tears just came flooding out. I cried for what felt like hours. It was actually only about 20 minutes, but it just poured out of me. When it stopped, I felt like I could breathe fully for the very first time in months. The heaviness that I had in my chest, the one I've been carrying around like that backpack full of stones, it was lighter. Not gone completely, but lighter. That was my turning point. That's when I realized that healing was possible, or at least the processing and starting a new journey of living with my new life was possible. And I had that power and more power than I ever thought. And that power was a choice I could start to make to move forward. And you have that power too, right now, today. So here's what I want you to do. Download the free worksheet at www.hoperegain.com/blog. And in there, you'll have the 3 techniques broken down step by step with scripts, guides, and journal prompts to help you go deeper. Choose one technique, just one, and commit to trying it for the next 7 days. That's it. 7 days. See what happens. Then come back and tell me about it in the comments. I want to hear your stories. I want to celebrate your progress. I want to be a part of your healing journey because you're a part of mine. If this guided practice resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe and hit that little bell so you don't miss a thing. By joining our community, you help us create more resources just like this one. And if you know someone who's feeling stuck or they could benefit from this message, please consider sharing this video with them. Let's help lift everybody up, each other up, to support each other's growth. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for doing the hard work of healing. Thank you for choosing hope. Healing is not about becoming somebody new. It's about releasing everything that tells you you're not enough and remembering who you've always been and that you are always enough. Until the next time, keep choosing hope, keep choosing healing, and keep choosing you. You're worth it. I'll see you next week.